Hello guys, my name is Mahmoud Adil, and in this video we're going to discuss statistical tests in an easy high-yield way for USMLE Step 1. First thing first, to solve those types of questions right, you have to think in an organized way. And make your number one step is to know which is the dependent variable and which is the independent variable. And your number two step is to know the type of the variable you got in your question, whether it is categorical or not categorical. If it is categorical, he is talking about a state of whether the patient or the study dealing with obese people or non-obese people, a hypertensive or non-hypertensive. A not categorical variable is a variable that includes numbers, like a mean body weight or a mean blood pressure or mean blood glucose. Okay. So to know your independent variable, the independent variable is that the variable that is believed to cause or influence or predict another variable. In another word, it is a risk or exposure that leads to change in the dependent variable. Okay? The dependent variable is the outcome of the exposure or the risk of the independent variable. Okay? So the dependent variable is a result, and the independent variable is the cause or influence that made that result. Okay? Let's see some examples. Smoking, independent variable, lead to an outcome which is lung cancer, which is the dependent variable. Okay. A drug trial, a drug treatment or antihypertensive drug, which is the independent variable, exposure or risk, lead to change in blood pressure, which is the dependent variable. Study hours leads to a change in the exam scores. So study hours is the independent variable and exam scores are the dependent variable. So based on the dependent variable or independent variable, your number two step is to know the type of it. Okay, so if the dependent is not categorical or dealing with numbers, so you go to the independent variable. If it is categorical, and your group is more than or equal to three group, you choose ANOVA. If you have only two groups, you choose t-test. Okay. If your dependent variable is not categorical or numerical and your independent variable is numerical, your answer is correlation or linear regression. Okay. If your dependent variable is categorical and your independent variable is categorical, and you have a large study group, your answer is chi-square. If you have a small study group, your answer is Fisher's exact test. Let's have some questions. Okay, clinical trial compares mean weight loss among patients assigned to three different diets. Okay, low carb diet, Mediterranean diet, and low fat diet. The investigator wants to know whether mean weight loss differs among the groups. Which statistical test is more appropriate? So you have let's think in an organized way. Your number one step to know your variables. So your dependent variable, let's start with the independent, which is the exposure, which is the diet, and the result is the mean weight loss. Okay, so you have a categorical independent variable with a numerical dependent variable. Okay. So dependent variable is numerical and your independent variable is categorical and you have more than three groups, so it is ANOVA or analysis of variance test. Okay. A physician studies whether obesity is associated with hypertension. Okay, so you have obese, non-obese, hypertension, non-hypertension. Okay, so obesity, hypertension. Independent is obesity, dependent is hypertension. Okay. A categorical and categorical. Let's go to the algorithm. A categorical with a categorical, and you have a large sample. Okay, so a large sample, large study sample, your answer is chi-square test. Okay. A researcher studies whether a rare vaccine side effect is associated with sex. So uh, the exposure, or he is talking about the male or female. Okay, so this is the risk. okay? And this is the independent variable, and your dependent variable is the side effect or the outcome of the vaccine, okay? And your sample is small. So, and this is categorical and this is categorical. So a categorical and categorical with a small study sample, so it is special exact test. Let's see this question. A researcher wants to compare average LDL cholesterol levels between patients taking drug A and patients taking drug B. Drug A group mean LDL 110 and drug B group mean LDL 124. So you have number one step is to finding your variable. So your independent variable is the drug A, which is categorical, and your dependent variable is the mean LDL, which is numerical, and you have two groups. So dependent variable numerical and categorical independent variable and two groups. So the answer is t-test. Super easy, super simple. Okay, let's see this question. A case control study, so blah, blah, blah. We have a table right here, which is the following best statistical method. So let's think in an organized way. Number one step, what is your variable? Simvastatin therapy, no, simvastatin therapy lead to different or lead to change or outcome in the fibrinogen level, okay? So we have a categorical independent variable with a categorical dependent variable because here he is comparing high fibrinogen with normal fibrinogen. He is not comparing levels of serum fibrinogen. Okay, if it is the level of serum fibrinogen, so we can count it as numerical, not categorical. Okay. So the answer is chi-square test because we have a large sample group. Okay, a categorical variable with another categorical variable. Okay, and we have the last question right here. Hmm, blah blah blah. Okay, so the investigator want to determine whether average daily sedentary time is independently associated with lumbar spine bone mineral density. So average daily sedentary time risk or exposure leads to an outcome, lumbar spine bone mineral density. Okay, so average daily sedentary time, numerical independent variable with a numerical dependent variable. Let's go to the algorithm. Numerical dependent variable with a numerical independent variable. Your answer is linear regression. So your research question or the best statistical technique is linear regression test. So we finished our video. Thanks for listening. I wish you got all of this stuff right in your exam and good luck. Bye bye.